Hello students, welcome to all. Today in this lecture we are going to study the applications of electrogravimetry, then separation of copper and nickel. After that we will see the apparatus used in electrochemistry, and last point of the chapter is the use and care of electrodes. So let us start with our first point is the applications of electrogravimetry. First application, electrolytic separation of metals with controlled cathode potential. Electrolytic separation of metals with controlled cathode potential. This is the coulometric method of analysis. In coulometric method, it is used to separate two metals which are differ in their deposition potential by an adequate magnitude so that one metal can be deposited on the cathode in preference to the other metal. Okay. In gravimetric method, a metal to be determined is deposited electrolytically upon a suitable electrode, and from the gain in weight of the electrode, the amount of the metal in the sample is calculated. Okay, in electrogravimetric method, the metal which is to be determined is deposited electrolytically upon a suitable electrode, and from the gain in weight of the electrode, the amount of the metal in the sample is determined. In coulometric method, the weight of the metal deposited on the cathode is found out indirectly by measuring the quantity of electricity which is required to bring about a chemical reaction. In coulometric method, the amount of metal deposited is found indirectly by measuring the quantity of electricity, and from the quantity of electricity we can measure the how much amount of metal is deposited at an electrode, or how much metal is deposited at an electrode. In gravimetric method, the weight of amount of metal is determined from the gain in weight of the electrode after electrolysis. In coulometric method, the weight of metal deposited is found out indirectly by measuring the quantity of electricity which is required to bring about the chemical reaction. Coulometric methods is based on applications of Faraday's law. Okay, we know that Faraday's first law, W is equal to ZIT. W means what? It is the amount of metal deposited, and it is directly proportional to the what? Quantity of electricity passed through the cell. So, coulometric method is based upon the applications of Faraday's law of electricity, which may be expressed in the form that the extent of chemical reaction at an electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the electrode. Okay, that means how much metal is deposited. Okay, that chemical reaction at an electrode is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the electrodes. Okay, so coulometric methods are based on Faraday's law. The quantity of electricity can then be related to the weight of the substance deposited. Okay, therefore Q is depends upon what? The weight of the substance related to the weight of the substance deposited on the electrode during the electrolysis, and it is given by the relation W is equal to Wm into Q upon 96,493 into, and it is the relationship between the electricity and quantity of electricity and the weight of the substance deposited at an electrode. Okay, W is equal to Wm into Q upon 96,493 into, and where W, it is the weight of the metal or substance deposited electrolytically at an electrode. Wm, it is the gram molecular weight. Wm, it is the gram molecular weight of the substance. Q, it is the quantity of electricity passing through the cell. N, these are the number of electrons involved in the electrode reaction. Okay, number of electrons involved in the electrode reaction. Q is the electricity, quantity of electricity passing through the cell. Wm, it is the gram molecular weight. So, the amount of metal or weight of metal deposited is equal to Wm into Q upon 96,493 into N. Okay, that relation is very important for solving the problem based on Faraday's law. So our next point is electrolytic separation of copper and nickel. It is a very important point. Generally, question is asked on that topic, electrolytic separation of copper and nickel. Constant current electrolysis is used in the separation and determination of metals in alloys. Constant current electrolysis, okay, is used in the separation and determination of metals in alloys. Alloy, we know that alloy is a mixture of two or more metal alloys. If we have to separate metals which are present in alloy, the constant current electrolysis method is used. One such series of alloys such as Monel metal, coinage alloys, cupronickel alloys, etc., which mainly contains copper and nickel and an impurity like iron. Okay. In such determination, the impurity is removed and the two metals are electrodeposited at different applied potential. Our method is what? Electrolytic separation of copper and nickel. Okay, these are the what? These are the alloys which containing copper and nickel, metal, Monel metal, coinage alloys, cupronickel alloys. Okay, is containing copper and nickel, but they also containing impurities like iron. So from these alloys, the impurity is removed and the two metals are electrodeposited at different applied potentials. Copper and nickel, okay, lie on opposite sides of hydrogen in the activity series. Okay, if we see the activity series, in middle hydrogen is there. Okay, so copper and nickel are lie opposite in the hydrogen in opposite sides of hydrogen in the activity series. That means there is a large difference between their decomposition potential, copper and nickel, and hence can be separated electrolytically by control of pH. By control of pH. Here we see the steps involved in experimental procedures. First point, okay, these are the experimental procedure for the separation of copper and nickel present in Monel alloy. Okay, Monel metal or coinage alloys. We know that in that alloys, copper, nickel as well as impurities such as iron is also present. So, first step is weigh about 0.5 gram of alloy and put it in a beaker which containing 100 ml of distilled water. Okay, 5 gram of alloy is taken in a beaker which is already containing 100 ml distilled water. Then into that add 1 ml concentrated H2SO4 and 2 ml concentrated HNO3 and boil the solution. Okay, concentrated acids are used to dissolve the alloy. Okay, 1 ml concentrated H2SO4, 2 ml concentrated HNO3, okay, are added to the 100 ml solution of 0.5 gram alloy. Then boil that solution, cool it and electrolyze it using platinum gauze cathode and platinum wire anode. Okay, platinum gauze cathode and platinum wire anode. By using these two electrolyze the above solution. The copper is determined in strongly acidic solution. Okay, when we add H2SO4 HNO3, we know that solution becomes acidic. The copper is determined in strongly acidic solution at a potential not exceeding 4 volts. Okay, 4 volts. When the potential is not greater than 4 volt, at that voltage copper is determined. Okay, the solution must be acidic. So in strongly acidic solution at potential not exceeding 4 volt with a current 2 to 4 amperes, copper is determined. After drying the cathode, okay, the copper is determined with what? At that voltage in strongly acidic solution, electrolysis of copper is takes place. After that, copper is deposited at cathode. Okay, so after drying the cathode, it is weighed to find the weight of the copper deposited. Okay, then the remaining solution, okay, after electrolysis, the remaining solution is evaporated to fuming in order to remove excess of nitric acid. Okay, the solution is evaporated to fuming in order to remove excess of nitric acid. Okay, then the iron present, you know that impurity metal such as iron is present in monometal. Okay, so that impurity iron present in the is precipitated with ammonia solution and filtered. Okay, here in that solution ammonia solution is added in excess, so all the iron is precipitated as their hydroxide. Okay, so a large excess of ammonia solution is added to the filtrate and the solution is electrolyzed. Okay, due to the addition of ammonia, the solution becomes basic. The addition of ammonia makes the solution alkaline and lowers the pH of the solution. Okay, copper is separated in strongly acidic solution. Okay, and nickel is separated in alkaline solution. Okay, so for that excess of ammonia solution is added to the filtrate and the solution is electrolyzed. The addition of ammonia makes a solution alkaline and lowers the pH of the solution. And after the deposition of nickel is complete, the electrode is dried and weighed. Okay, last step is what? Electrode is dried and weighed. Okay, here nickel can be deposited on the top of the copper. In first step, copper is deposited on cathode. Okay, and in second step, the nickel is deposited on the top of the copper. So from gain in the weight of the electrode, we can determine the amount of nickel present in the sample. Okay, it is a procedure useful for the separation of nickel and copper. Thus, the separation and determination of both copper and nickel is achieved by this electrolytic method. Okay, it is the application of electrogravimetry for the separation of copper and nickel present in the alloy. The next point is the apparatus used for electrolysis. Okay, the diagram shows the electrolysis unit. Electrolysis unit. Okay, here is a vessel, reaction vessel, which containing a electrolytic solution. Into that two electrodes are dipped, anode and cathode. Here is a voltmeter. Here is the ammeter. These are the two resistors, switch. Okay, electrolysis unit. Electrolysis unit required and electrode deposition is shown in figure. Used for electrode deposition is shown in figure. Here M is the DC main supply. Okay, 200 to 240 volts, or a storage battery 6 or 12 volts. M is a DC main supply. R1 is a fixed resistance. R2 is a small high voltage variable resistance. Okay, R2 it is a variable resistance, R1 fixed resistance. A is an ammeter reading up to 10 amperes. V is the voltmeter reading up to 10 to 15 volt. E, okay, it is the electrolysis vessel. S is the switch. Okay, different types of commercial apparatus for electrolysis is available, and most of them use this circuit. Okay, the apparatus which is available in market, in all these apparatus, this circuit is used. And second apparatus is electrodes. Okay, cathode and anode. Generally, okay, the diagram shows what? Various types of platinum gauze electrodes. The electrodes are generally made of platinum or platinum iridium alloy. Various types of electrodes have been used. Okay, they are shown in figure. The gauze electrode. Okay, All are gauge electrode. The gauge electrodes are preferred because they offer good circulation of electrolyte and large surface area. Okay, they offer good circulation of electrolyte and offers large surface area. The electrode widely used with an independent stirrer is shown in figure. Okay, independent of stirrer, because these electrodes, okay, they are act as a stirrer also. They are act as a electrode as well as stirrer also. So there is a no need of stirrer. It is known as Fisher type. A mercury cathode which finds widespread application for separation by constant current electrolysis. Okay, look at the diagram. Here it is a reaction vessel. Here is the inner electrode is the platinum anode, outer electrode is the platinum gauze cathode. That inner electrode, platinum anode, itself act as an anode as well as a stirrer. Okay, and here it is a reaction vessel. Reaction vessel means what? It is a tall foam beaker without lid. It generally used to hold the solution. Okay, कशासाठी यूज करतो आपण? To hold the solution to be electrolyzed. That figure shows a tall foam beaker and a split clock glass with central hole. Okay, a split clock glass with a central hole. To prevent loss by spraying, split clock glass with a central hole is used to cover the electrolytic vessel. Okay, clock glass, split clock glass. Okay, इथे असतो तो. त्यातनं काय डिप केलंय हा कॅथ एनोड. This is used to prevent loss by spraying. The next one is the stirrer. Stirring of the electrolyte during electrolysis reduces the time required for deposition. Therefore, stirring is very important. It reduces the time required for deposition. Generally, the inner electrode, that is anode, is used as a stirrer. Okay, in this diagram, here anode is used as a stirrer. Sometimes an independent glass stirrer operated by means of motor mounted above the electrolysis vessel is used. And sometimes magnetic stirrer is also used. Okay, and last point is the use and care of electrodes. Okay, how electrodes are clean, how they are used, how we take care of electrode. Okay, all these points are covered in this topic, use and care of electrode. The electrode used in the process of electrolysis should be free from grease. Okay, that electrode should be free from grease, otherwise an adherent deposit may not be obtained. Okay, electrode must be free from grease, otherwise adherent deposit may not be obtained. The electrode should never be touched with fingers. Electrode should never be touched with fingers. When platinum electrode is heated to redness, it becomes free from grease. Okay, if we heat the platinum electrode to redness, then it will become free from grease. The electrode must be clean before and after the use. And for this purpose, electrodes are first immersed in dilute nitric acid, that is 1:1 nitric acid. Okay, then rinsed with water and then boiled with fresh nitric acid for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, the electrode is clean by immersing the electrode in dilute nitric acid, then rinsed with water and then boiled with fresh nitric acid for 5 to 10 minutes, and finally they are washed with water. Okay, it is the cleaning process of electrode. Certain metals, for example zinc and bismuth, should not be deposited on the platinum electrode. Why? Because they spoil the electrode. Platinum, zinc, they cannot be deposited on platinum electrode because they spoil the electrode. In such case, the platinum electrode is first plated with copper. Okay, platinum electrode is first plated with copper and then these metals are deposited on this copper surface. Okay, platinum electrodes are not directly useful for the deposition of zinc and bismuth because they spoil the electrode. So, for the deposition of zinc and bismuth, platinum electrode must be plated with copper, and after that these metals are deposited on this copper surface. For uniform deposition, the surface of platinum should be as smooth and bright as possible. Okay, the surface of platinum electrode should be smooth and bright as possible for uniform deposition. So these are the use and care of electrodes. So today we will stop here. Thank you.